Nobody believes that you can launch a new telco in 2025. As far as I know, generally around the world, there hasn't been a new meaningful telco in the last decade or so, especially in the most insanely competitive market in the world. India has the cheapest data rates in the world already, along with the highest amount of consumption and the highest amount of users. We've sold 20,000 hotspots. We've brought more than 100,000 people online, and we see a roadmap to 10xing that year on year over the next decade, and we truly believe that we can bring another billion people to the internet that currently don't have it.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Messari Podcast. I'm Diran Li, CTO of Messari, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Karam, CEO of Dabba. Dabba is a DePIN project tackling internet connectivity in India. And in today's conversation, we'll go over the entire journey, how you came up with the vision around internet in India with Dabba, but also some exciting news of what's happening next. So Karam, welcome to the episode, and we'll dive right in.
Awesome, yeah, thank you. I'm really excited to be here, and awesome to be here in person, in time for Apex, in time for Token. It's a great time to be here.
So first thing first, let's start from the beginning. Let's take us way back. What got you into tech in the first place?
Oh, I'm one of those classic stories of high school dropout, been a serial entrepreneur, always been running different startups. And so for the last 15, almost 16 years, my co-founder Shubs and I, there are two of us behind Dabba, we've been running software companies, and we've been enmeshed in tech, I think, as long as we've been breathing.
So that's a very unusual story of, we often hear college dropouts. Can you just pull the thread a little bit on high school dropout? What opportunity did you see in the market, and what was the confidence boost that gave you like the idea of, I got something here, let me drop out and pursue?
Yeah, great question. So I think there's a certain subset of people, and maybe I'm one of them, where talking to machines is way more comfortable than it is talking to people. And I think ever since I got my first computer as like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, there was an instinctual bond to the machine.
Which computer was it?
A 386 IBM PC.
Nice.
And so this was a solid 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And even with those tiny VGA displays, barely had any color, you could just sense the power that absolutely anything was possible if you could meld with the machine and sort of harness its power.
Yeah. So were you coding in which language back then?
Basic and then C.
Yes,
so
yes.
it started off with building small games and programs and that sort of thing. And then the internet really started to take off. And then there was this immediate love for HTML, JavaScript, web apps, and that sort of thing. And then you realize, as a kid from India, holy crap, I can build something that the entire world can access, and you sort of get feedback immediately, and then you realize, yeah, my God, this is capable of changing the world, and that's just something that you really want to be a part of.
Did you have the dial-up internet back then?
Very much so. I have fond memories of large phone bills that would annoy my parents, and tying up the phone line that nobody else could use.
Yeah. So now, fast forward a little bit, you're like full circle now from dial-up internet to now you're working on providing more internet to people. Tell us a little bit of maybe the previous company that you're working in and how you found the problem set that you're working on now.
Yeah, for sure. So my co-founder Shubs and I, as I mentioned earlier, we used to run a software company that built software for high-value logistics firms. So this is things like gold, diamond, jewelry, human organs, and that sort of thing. So this was way back in about 2012, 2013, thereabouts. And we would have these hilarious situations where you would have an armored truck that would leave the bank vault, do a round of maybe like 10, 12 jewelry stores carrying $10 million worth of gold and diamonds, and nobody would be able to track it because in India at that time, connectivity wasn't really there. And so we felt this pain very strongly because, unlike Amazon, there's no such thing as a missed delivery. You don't get to hand diamonds to the wrong person. There's solid check and balance there. Along with that, in parallel, as a team, we had this daily ritual where we would go to a tiny tea stall near our office, the entire team, and we'd stand there and sort of have our stand-up meetings. And there was no connectivity. So we did this thing where we got a broadband connection, plugged in a Wi-Fi router into the tea stall where we would all stand around so we could check our notes and that sort of thing. Really, really quickly, all of the customers in that tea stall started using the internet because 3G had just kicked in, but it wasn't particularly effective, so people had a hard time updating apps and that sort of thing. Pretty soon, within a week, all of the other retail stores in that road saw that more customers were hanging out, more buzz around this store, and they wanted it. And that's when we realized, like, on a broader level, my God, the need for connectivity that we had was shared by everybody else. So we sold our logistics startup to our largest client, and we applied to Y Combinator. We got in, and we spent the next year building out to about 1,000 retail locations. So no looking back from there. This was about 2017 or so. From that point, we expanded to helping Google deliver public Wi-Fi in India. So we provided a lot of the underlying infrastructure for that. We worked with the Indian government as well to craft the telecom policy so that it's more friendly to let people redistribute data. Because one of the interesting things is around the world, most ISPs have a restrictive process where if you have an internet connection, you can't resell it, reshare it, do anything. Whereas the Indian government had this benevolent view that anybody should be able to resell data so that we can spread connectivity. So we've spent the last decade working on solving connectivity problems, and when we met the folks at Helium and sort of saw the rise of Solana and the blockchain, and we realized, my God, DePIN is the way that you really do this on a massive scale. And so in 2023 or sort of late 2024, we sort of jumped in and tokenized our entire network, and it's been a rocket ship since then.
Tell us maybe a little bit for the audience, what is the internet connectivity in India? Give us a little bit of insight, maybe comparing what people might know in the US versus India. What are some of the similarities and differences that people might not be aware of?
Yeah, so India is this unique snowflake in the world where the conditions in the market are completely different from anywhere else. So the first thing to note is 99% of countries have a telecom monopoly, where it's one or two providers at most.
Comcast, Verizon's, Spectrum.
Absolutely. Or alternatively, it's a government-run system and there's no option for sort of private players as well. The second thing is, although we have unbelievable 4G and 5G, which is mobile penetration, like India has 850 million mobile subscribers. Indians are the most data-hungry consumers in the world. We consume the most amount of data. To give you a sense of sort of what those numbers are, the average Indian consumes 40 gigs a month just on their phone. Most Indians have 2 SIM cards on their phone because they can't live on one plan. Whereas broadband, we sort of skipped that leap. We went straight from landlines to the iPhone. We never had a build out of a broadband system. So as a result, broadband is absolute garbage and it's totally dismal. Less than 5% of the Indian population has access to broadband. Like on a human level, can you believe out of 1.5 billion people, less than 5% of people have ever used Wi-Fi in their lives, right? So that's a big thing. To give you a sense of scale of this problem, the US has 120 million broadband connections. China has about 700 million. India has only 40 million. And so now you have this data-hungry population where data demand is doubling year on year. We've got a Moore's law happening. So we need now to deliver the next level of connectivity to the Indian consumer, and that's sort of our mission at Dabba.
And just diving one step further there, why is broadband so much harder than wireless?
Yeah, so 2 things. The first is most broadband networks in most countries, the fiber optical cable that it takes to deliver broadband connectivity is laid underground while a city is developing. India developed so fast that a lot of this basic infrastructure sort of never got laid out. And that's a huge problem because unlike mobile, where you only have to install maybe 100, 200 cell phone towers in a city and you can sort of provide coverage, with high-speed broadband, you have to lay thousands of kilometers of cable per city because you have to go to every street, terminating at every home.
Right.
And now when you have a developed city, it's impossible. It costs you on the average of about maybe $200,000 per mile, never mind the cost of digging up the road, the permissions, and that sort of thing. So that sort of never happened, unlike other developing countries. So as a result, this connectivity has been fairly low. Now, however, there is a massive opportunity to change this because another one of the things that makes India absolutely unique is we actually have this crazy system where you have 100,000 what are called local cable operators. So think a guy in his mid-20s to 40s that's got a satellite dish pointed at the sky, and for the last 10 years, he's been providing cable TV services to his neighborhood, friends and families, couple of hundred subscribers or a couple of thousand subscribers. This guy now has to evolve or die because everyone in India is starting to cut the cord because I mentioned earlier, data-hungry country. Now we're all hooked on streaming. We're not going to flipping channels, all of us want Netflix. So what we do at Dabba is we're helping aggregate all of these providers to upgrade their systems both in hardware, software, billing, and customer care. The same way that Uber and Airbnb did, and we're going to use this system to help deliver greater connectivity because we're able to do it at a diffuse, grassroots, sort of decentralized level nationwide.
So these local operators, they're kind of small mom and pop, like almost just mom and pop shops, right? So if I was a local operator, I basically need to source my own hardware, my own fiber optics. I need to do my own installation and all of the maintenance and repair, right? And that means I'm just guessing the population probably gets a huge variance in terms of the service that they're getting, whether they're getting billed or not, the reliability of the hardware, and just like maybe there's downtime. So is that the fundamental problem that you saw in the...
It's one level lower even. Most people have either very limited options or no options at all. Like take the Silicon Valley of India, Bangalore, our hometown where our offices and our operations are. You would think that that city would have incredible connectivity considering there are literally, I think, about 5 million programmers and hardware engineers that live in that city. But if you live in the outskirts of the city, you have damn near no option for connectivity. You're tethered to your phone most of the time. Because the large telcos are happy serving mobile, they don't have any focus on broadband as of yet because, as I mentioned, 800 million subscribers, remember, is only 50% penetration in our country. So telcos are still focused on selling broadband, 5G, 4G connections. Right. So broadband's been deeply neglected. So the cable operators are pretty decent. They're pretty good. But their challenge is because it's hardware, each additional connection costs them a little bit more money. And because they're tiny businesses, it's very hard for them to raise the capital to expand networks dramatically. So what we're able to do is help them with the hardware, the software, and the capital necessary to access more customers because they're the local experts. They have all of the local permissions in the area necessary to deliver the connections. They've grown up in these neighborhoods. They know how to market to everyone. They know how to deliver good service. The only thing these micro entrepreneurs need is that tiny little bit of help that then allows them to grow into massive networks. And that's really what we're bringing to the table.
Help me understand the analogy to Uber here, because going back to the previous example, I'm a mom and pop shop. Maybe I understand hardware a little bit. Maybe I understand software a little bit, enough to be resourceful. Now, how can I provide a better service using this sort of more standardized model, but also maybe there are a bunch of things that I don't need to take care of in this model with like the model that Dabba is providing.
The aggregation model. So
Yes.
I think the Uber analogy is great. Let's say you were a taxi driver before. You would have to join a taxi union. You'd have to drive around till a random person hailed you, so on and so forth, right? Uber solved a lot of those issues. Same problem over here. If you're a tiny local cable operator, you want to expand your network, but you don't have a budget for marketing.
Yes.
You can't tell the broader neighborhood that this is accessible. You want to be able to provide a higher speed to your customer, but your own backhaul cost, your own core connection to the internet is based on your ability to buy volume. you don't have the ability to buy volume. So you're sort of locked in by all of these little things. Even if you got 1,000 customers coming to you, let's say a new neighborhood opened up in your area, giant apartment building opened, and 1,000 customers were now available to you, you don't have the customer care resources necessary in order to handle those customers, even if they all signed up to you. So even when they have growth opportunities and ability to deliver, they're fundamentally limited by capital, hardware, and software. So what we really do is bring them those three things in order to help them scale. And from the consumer's perspective, the experience is exactly the same as anybody watching this video. The way that you would have gotten your broadband connection at home is you would have Googled or asked your neighbor, hey, what internet connection do you have? And you would have called that company and said, can I have a new connection? From the customer's perspective, same thing here. You ask your neighbor or you check Instagram or WhatsApp and go, hey, what's a good connection? They will tell you it's your local cable operator. You contact the local cable operator. They deliver the connection within 24 hours. So from the end consumer's perspective, it's a seamless Web 2 experience as well.
Now let's introduce the DePIN aspect to this. How do you incentivize these operators, and what is the revenue model? Let's say, again, I'm this mom and pop shop. I want to operate as smooth as possible, and then there are a bunch of things that maybe I don't want to do, just make my life easy. Let's introduce that economic aspect. How should I think about?
Yeah, so I think a great way to look at it is there are sort of three stakeholders in this ecosystem. The first is you, the local cable operator. The second is the end consumer. And we'll come to the third one later. There are two common problems that you, the local cable operator, and the end consumer share. You don't have the capital and the hardware necessary to expand your network. The end consumer can pay a monthly bill, but they can't afford the setup cost. In the same way they are capital constrained, in the same way that you are. So what we do is we've created a marketplace where we can introduce what we call sort of Dabba owners. Anyone, anywhere in the world can sponsor a hotspot, can buy a hotspot, but we don't deliver it to that person. Instead, we deliver that hotspot to you, and you install it in the paying customer's home or office. What we're really doing here is people
Me as the local operator.
You as the local cable operator.
Yeah.
What we're doing is crowdsourcing using internet capital markets fundamentally to crowdsource the capital that it takes for you to expand your business and deliver a low-cost experience to the end consumer. So fundamentally, when somebody buys a hotspot, say sitting in the US, what they're doing is subsidizing the internet connection, at least the setup cost, for the end consumer through the local cable operator. In return for doing that, they get Dabba tokens. And that's sort of the value chain. A great way to look at it is we think this is the best way to take the good bits of DePIN and bring supply and demand efficiency. So if you look at a lot of existing DePIN projects today, the way it works is you would buy the DePIN device and you would install it yourself. Now this leads to a patchy experience where there might be a lot of devices installed, but they may not provide much value to the network because maybe they're not in the best location or installed correctly, and therefore they may not generate revenue well. What we do by decoupling who owns the hardware from where the hardware is getting installed, we're able to bring 100% efficiency because every single hotspot is installed in a paying customer's home or office. And sort of that's the value chain that we provide. And we then use the revenue that customers pay for their monthly bill with fiat. So they're paying for the internet connection, their broadband connection, the same way you do, using fiat. We take that fiat revenue and we use it to buy and burn the token, thereby accruing value to the token.
Awesome. So just replaying the folks at play here, there's the local operator that want to provide internet to more people, broadband internet. There's the consumer side of things that just want to pay like a subscription, monthly fee. And then there's the Dabba, what do you call it?
Dabba
Valas. And that takes care of a lot of just the logistics side of things.
Just the provision of the capital. The local cable operator takes care of the logistics.
Yes.
What you essentially have is, you have a market in India that has an overwhelming amount of demand with customers who are ready to pay for it, with deployers and installers who have the expertise to do it.
Those are the investors.
Exactly, those are the investors.
Yes.
This market is just constrained by the capital it takes to deploy the infrastructure.
Right.
So we connect this to the capital that's available.
Right. So you're connecting the investors to the operators to the consumers.
Absolutely.
So supply, demand, and then money.
Correct.
Awesome.
Literally.
And tell us about maybe the standardization of the just You talked about when we chatted previously, it's just easier to collect billing and provide hardware. Tell us a little bit about that, how you make the lives easier for both the consumer side of things and the supplier side of things.
Yeah, for sure. So from the local cable operator's perspective, the deployer's perspective, the person that's actually managing the network, they have a lot of constraints in the hardware that they are able to purchase for their network, because again, it's hard for them to buy good quality Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 7 routers because those are more expensive. It's hard for them to buy high quality switches for their network because again, that's expensive. We standardize this and provide it to them at a much cheaper price because this allows them to deliver higher end speed to the customer, thereby raising ARPU for the customer as well. They're now able to charge the customer more. From the customer's perspective, we bring in digital billing systems, right? Because let's say you're in a tier 3 town somewhere in a remote part of India and you've got 500 subscribers as a local cable operator. Almost all of those subscribers are friends and family and people that you've grown up with. They're paying you cash, they're paying you occasionally, they're like, man, it's my birthday, let me go, the rest of that. What we're able to bring them is a digital payment system and accountability system where the internet connection gets cut off if the customer doesn't pay their bill. It gets easy for the customer to pay the bill because they no longer have to pay in cash. They can set up auto billing or prepay and things along those lines. So this results in a smoother system for everybody. It raises the average revenue that the local cable provider can make and raises the number of subscribers that can be served at the same time at a much higher speed than previously was available, if available at all in the first place.
Now let's dive in, switching gears a little bit. Since a lot of what makes this economy, we talked about the 3 personas in the economy, a lot of what makes it work is the economy of the Dabba token itself. As Dabba is going through TGE soon, tell us a little bit about the token itself and how you're thinking about the TGE itself, how you think about just the various players as you go through this launch event.
Yeah, for sure. So our tokenomics are extremely straightforward. We have spoken to founders of a lot of crypto projects, especially DePIN projects, and we try to sort of take the best lessons of the things that they've learned when they launch their token and apply them to our tokenomics. So the way Dabba works is there's a fixed maximum supply of 10 billion tokens. 60% of those tokens are entirely allocated to hotspot owners, the people that are investing and purchasing hotspots that then get deployed by everywhere else. All of these rewards on a daily fixed basis go to hotspot owners. They in turn give out a share of those tokens to the local cable operator to help run the network. So it's an extremely fair system and extremely simple. One of the reasons
And that's automated.
And that's automated, and there's a great deal of accountability built in. Because let's say, somebody bought a hotspot in the US and a local cable provider has installed it in someone's house, but this provider is doing a bad job. Right? Our Explorer, which is available at dabba.network, has complete transparency. You can see where your hotspot was installed, how much data is getting consumed, what devices are using it, what customer reviews are, everything is there. If for any reason the hotspot that you own, that local cable operator is not doing a good job, you can immediately shut off rewards to them and reassign your hotspot for free to a different operator. So this builds accountability to make sure that great service is in place. One of the really fun things that we've done as well is because we're pre-TGE and we haven't launched a tokenized yet, we launched a Genesis reward program where you can get 20,000 Dabba tokens, rewards, which will get converted into tokens at the time of launch. And the response to this has been phenomenal. I think pre-TGE, we're already at a network size to most post-TGE projects already. We've sold 20,000 hotspots, of which 15,000 have already been deployed and are serving live customers across the country. We're already hitting $100,000 monthly revenue, and we take that revenue to buy and burn the token. 100% of all revenue goes to buy and burn the token. We're partnering with BONK and the BONK Launchpad, which I'm sure you've heard of them having competition with Pump and that sort of thing.
Yep.
So we're going to be doing a vault where before the token launches, people are able to participate in the vault and help create the sort of base level of liquidity once the token launches. So we're really excited about that as well. And there are a couple of cool things we're talking about with the vault in a little bit too.
Yeah, we'll come back to that, but slight tangent. What made you choose BONK specifically? And also, I know you're quite involved on the Solana ecosystem side of things. What about Solana and BONK attracted you to build DePIN on top?
Yeah, so for Solana, for us, it was a no-brainer. To be absolutely honest, the community has been fantastic. In technology overall, not just crypto, I don't know of a more welcoming community. Whether it's founders, investors, people willing to buy DePIN hardware right at the beginning and experiment and support your project, just communities on Discord, X, that sort of thing, incredibly welcoming, incredibly encouraging, and we've learned a lot from them. That, in fact, led us to the folks at BONK, where we saw this great opportunity so crypto is slightly schizophrenic, right? We've got sort of two ends of the ecosystem where you've got a DePIN project like us, which is fairly serious, right? We're trying to build serious hardware to solve a serious problem. It's about revenue, it's about traction, it's about quality of service. Hard tech and all of this, right? And on the other end, you have meme coins, right? And what we're seeing is in the evolution of crypto markets and especially internet capital markets, the partnership with BONK seemed like an incredible opportunity to sort of smash these worlds together and see what happens. And we've been deeply impressed by the BONK team. They are some of the most thoughtful people that we have met. The amount of feedback that they've given us with regard to how to help design our tokenomics, deal with the community, and that sort of thing has been incredible. And the second thing is on the BONK launchpad, we're going to be launching our vault in partnership with them. So to all of the traders and all of the DGens out there that have been trading on their platform, you're going to now have access to the Dabba token before it launches at hopefully a way more favorable price than at launch price. So we think that bringing these two communities together under the umbrella of internet capital markets should sort of help the crypto ecosystem itself move a step forward and at least bring those two polar extremes a little bit closer, or at least birth something new altogether, because Lord knows we need a new direction as well.
Absolutely. Let's dive a little bit deeper in the internet capital markets side of things. How are you thinking about incentivizing people into effectively buying into the vision of Dabba, but also investing into this hopefully much larger endeavor here of providing internet to many more in India? How do you think about the incentive side of things, and how does that play into the Genesis program?
Yeah, so there are two ways that people can participate, and we would encourage them to do so. The first is we're going to be launching a vault, as I mentioned, before we do the TG, and this is in partnership with BONK. One of the fun things that we're introducing to the ecosystem is the concept of a vault pass. So the idea behind this is you get the ability to participate in the vault even before it opens. And this works in two formats. So we've got a concept called a mystery vault pass. It's only $1, and you can buy as many as you like. With every mystery pass, not only does that dollar go into the vault as soon as the vault opens, but you can get a bonus number of tokens or a bunch of other prizes as well. So you don't have to wait and sort of wait for the vault to open, fight the bots and everyone else at the last minute, to get into the vault. You can sort of secure your participation as well, and that helps tremendously, right?
What are some examples of mystery? Where is that a mystery?
That is a mystery. We've got some really cool bonus prizes, bonus amounts of tokens, hardware prizes. We've got a ton of partnerships. It's worth keeping it as a mystery. And the cool bit is, for those watching, by the time you see this, there are actually going to be two types of mysteries. One is you get instantaneous gratification, so you can ruin an epic reward immediately, and there are weekly prizes that are massive as well. So two ways to win. The second way that's worth participating is there are a lot more people in the internet capital market space that want to participate with us in a more serious manner. And for that, we've got what we're calling the bonus vault pass. That is based on the amount that you put into the vault. You also, on a curve, get a bonus amount of tokens. So you can get 10% bonus, 15% bonus, that sort of thing. So we've seen a lot of whales who've reached out to us saying, I want to participate significantly, and therefore I want incentive to do it early. So we've created this structure as well. By the time you're watching this video, this should have launched and should be available. The last but not least, of course, please consider consider buying a hotspot. That is a core way to participate. Ultimately, the name of this game is to build robust infrastructure that lasts 100 years and brings serious value over time. So if you'd like to help connectivity, either consider participating in the vault or buy a hotspot. These are the two options.
Last question, and I have to admit, it's not my question. It's a Peter Thiel question. I'm only asked this because you are a DePIN project working in a hard problem in hard tech. And in order to do that, there must be things that are contrarian that you believe in. So the Peter Thiel question is, how do you see the world evolving in the internet within India? What do you believe to be true that is contrarian that most people don't even think about or don't believe that is true?
Oh, that's a really easy question. That's the fundamental thesis of this company and this project, which is nobody believes that you can launch a new telco in 2025. As far as I know, generally around the world, there hasn't been a new meaningful telco in the last decade or so, especially in the most insanely competitive market in the world. India has the cheapest data rates in the world already, along with the highest amount of consumption and the highest amount of users. Nobody believes that you can launch a telco today, but we think we can, and we think that we're showing this is possible because, like I mentioned, even pre-TGE, we've sold 20,000 hotspots. We've brought more than 100,000 people online, and we see a roadmap to 10xing that year on year over the next decade, and we truly believe that we can bring another billion people to the internet that currently don't have it.
The growth of internet adoption, this obviously is much more of a grassroots effort. Do you think the growth will mainly come from the rural area first, tier 3, tier 2, tier 1, or the other way around?
In India, right now, demand is so explosive. If you throw a rock, you'll hit somebody that wants a broadband connection. They can't just afford the setup cost. If you gave them a cheap connection, they would take it then and there instantaneously. Right now, we're already available, I think, in about 8 to 10 cities. You'll see us available by the end of this year in at least 30 cities, closer to about 200 cities next year. It's going to be everything everywhere all at once.
Well, I look forward to your TGE, and also maybe we circle back in a year's time, and I'm sure there's a much broader adoption on Dabba. But thank you for speaking with me. It's been a very insightful conversation, and best of luck. I wish you success in this mission and bringing a lot more internet to a lot more people.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Karam.
Thank you.